I'm throwing out the first pitch at the Yankee game as coach out in a week or so.
That's unbelievable that it's gone from.
It's ridiculous.
Right?
It's ridiculous.
You were part of the All-Star campaign.
It's ridiculous.
And now
that was
nuts. Trust me, I've had my own fair share of All-Star campaigns.
That was.
We'll link that below. Don't worry about it.
That was insane, dude. I grabbed the blanket from the hotel, and it was so heavy. It wasn't my usual piece. It was like 35 pounds. It was falling out of my shorts. Like I'm in the middle of this arena, and I'm like unzipping my pants. And shit. Like Pedro Martinez is like, who is this guy?
In the baseball world, you're killing it right now. You are at the top of that food chain when it comes to people that are influencing the game and have a mass following and a massive fan base. And
don't give me that much credit.
I mean, let's go. We're going all the way back.
That.
You started during COVID. Usually we don't go through everyone's, come up story and all that stuff, but yours, we have to go through
Wild.
it. So I'll just take it to the part where you got the views, you deleted the app after.
Yeah.
But let's go into that first video and all that stuff.
So I just had stopped playing baseball. So I played baseball at Montclair State for 1 year. Wasn't really a good fit. I transferred schools because I still wanted to play. And the coach that I had at, it was a SUNY school, State University of New York. He was like my kind of guy. Like we were up at 5 a.m. friggin' running and doing all this conditioning. I was like, I love it. But like when I was in high school, you couldn't pay me to get off the field. Like I didn't even go to my homecoming dance in high school. Instead, I called my coach and was begging him to call the town to turn the lights on so I get hit. Like I loved the game. I loved the work. I loved the process. I was nuts, psychotic, very unrelatable in high school. So now in college, like you couldn't pay me to put baseball pants on. Like I loved the work, but like I was into new things. I was studying to become a personal trainer. I had like 10 clients at the time. Some were like in person, some were virtual. I was training people out of my garage back at home. But like you stop playing and you're like, what the f? Like, I'm sorry, can I curse on it?
Absolutely.
Like, what the f am I doing with my life? Like, it was like the first time I ever felt like I woke up and I was like, no purpose. And that was a very weird feeling.
How old were you?
19.
Okay, that's a weird feeling for a 19-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
It is. And real quick, so we talked about this. Was it during that period of COVID where there was guys that went 2.5 years without playing organized baseball? But go ahead.
No, so it was like right before COVID. And I wear my heart on my sleeve, so like I feel everything. So I'm like waking up like, what the f am I gonna do? And so my buddies were like, you should get on TikTok, you should start posting, because I would make these funny videos. But at the time, you don't really know that that's like a talent, right? Like I just enjoyed doing it. So I'd make like how to make the best grilled chicken. And I'd be like, put my hat sideways and like, and then you put this fucking, and I'd like make these videos and send them to my buddies. And they're like, dude, like post this stuff. But TikTok was like Charlie D'Amelio, like, I'm not doing that. Not for me.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, you gotta do it.
Just not on camera.
Exactly, no, not on camera.
Right.
So long story short, I'm working in the gym, the athlete-specific gym. No one was coming in. Gym closes at 8 p.m. It was 7:52 on a Wednesday night. I'll never forget it. And I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna make a video. So I make this video with this filter, and it was Italian dads versus non-Italian dads when you tell them you're going out.
I've seen that, it's beautiful.
It was good. So like, these like, what do you mean you're going out? It's 8 p.m. on a Wednesday. What the fuck you gotta do going out? And so I was like, whatever, made it, post it. Next morning, I wake up, 2 million views. Boom, my phone's lighting up. And so I deleted the app. Like I freaked, dude. I was like, so many people know my name, like, oh, I'm gonna be famous, like all this stuff. It was like way too much. I deleted the app. Then COVID happened. So this was March, end of March. And so I was like, I really enjoy the process of creating. I enjoy like making people laugh. It's one of my favorite things to do. And they're easy, right? So I was like, you can only work out for fucking, like gyms are closed. Like I'm like writing like how not to lose your gains during COVID. And I'm like posting free PDFs, like trying to keep my clients. Like one dude didn't even speak English, tried doing that one. Try convincing the guy to like keep paying you money during COVID. It was crazy.
Who's the guy at International Chess Day? Change the game during the clock.
I was like, dude, I'll translate it in Google Translate for you Mandarin, like if that's what you want.
Whatever you got.
So like I'm doing all this stuff and I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, yo, like I really do enjoy making these videos. So I started posting one video a day. Have you ever been in a spot where you have no idea where you're going, but you know exactly where you're going. That's where I was kind of feeling. So like I'd make a video every day, and then and they were very relative to like old school Italian. Like I grew up old school Italian. Like my grandmother Nona lives downstairs. So like I was doing like the accents and like, oh, you got a punta di Senado, and like it was hidden, but it wasn't hidden. So my buddy was like, dude, you should do that character that you first did when you made your first video. So I did like Italian dads at Little League games, and then Barstool got a hold of it, posted it, and then from there on, like they posted me 3-4 times a month. I was waking up with 70,000 new followers a day.
Holy cow.
That's
It was
insane, dude.
ridiculous. No, it was ridiculous.
Ridiculous. So you got to know about Sebastian Maniscalco.
Oh,
right?
my guy.
Stand-up comedian. He said
He's
his
one of the guys that
grandma-
got me into it.
No shit.
Just watching him, like, oh, if he could do it.
He has that one where he talks about his grandma living in the basement and she's just
Slinging lasagna. My grandmother, chicken cutlets. Oh my
Just
God, like you
nonstop
couldn't believe.
all day.
Dude, those were gold in high school. I'd be like walking around, yo, let me get some of the Dippin' Dots. You want some chicken cutlets?
trading off.
Oh, 100%. Oh, it was unbelievable.
So, okay, so process. I know you want to talk about that because people just probably think you're posting random videos, you're hitting record, doing that. We'll get into that stuff. What I want to know from a business standpoint, and it's something Pete's brought up all the time, and I've interacted with you a couple times, first time in person, but your feel, like you have that feel. You're a young kid, but like you don't get starstruck in front of these people. Like I was expecting you to ask for my autograph when you walked. No, I'm just kidding. But
Nah, after the show.
I've seen you do some things now with the Yankees, with some stuff where you're working with Aaron Judge, you're working with Soto, and you just have that feel. Like you're not doing too much, you're staying in your character. So in baseball, when you recognize a young talent at a young age, you try and lock them down for a 10, 15-year contract for way less than what their value is.
Yeah.
So from a business standpoint, how have you learned, and I know you work close with your dad, how have you learned what your value is from a content standpoint?
Man, that's a loaded question. I think
digging deep, baby.
In the beginning, it was all fun, right? Like it was all, and like the starstruck thing, like at the end of the day, it's my work. You know, like it's a job. And so like, I'm not doing my job if I'm gonna sit here and goo goo gaga over the guys that I'm working with. But you know, on the car ride home, what the f? But like when we're on the job, we're on a job. And I think I get that from my dad. My dad's a professional. And also like being around professionals too, like seeing how guys interact with their higher, like I'm lucky enough to know guys in the show that are young, Logan O'Hoppe being one of them, and he's just, that dude is the biggest pro I've ever seen. So like being blessed with having people around me that are professionals in themselves is one, and two, understanding your value in business is really a token to taking the emotions out of it. And for me, I like I said, I wear my heart on my sleeve. So in the beginning, I was like, oh, like, let me just, like, I'll just give, because I'm a nice guy, and that's what nice guys do. But business ain't nice. And business honestly sucks a lot of the time.
There's no loyalty.
And yeah, and loyalty one way is stupidity. That's Derek Jeter. But
wow, Willie
for
clipped
me-
that shit.
for me, you know, my dad always, through examples of just like watching him throughout my life, like takes the emotions out of everything. And I'm just a student of life in the fact that being able to have people around me that I could look up to and kind of figure out for myself has been able to make me understand, like, yeah, I'm a nice guy, but I also know what I bring to the table. And I think I wouldn't be able to understand what I bring to the table if I hadn't taken my emotions out and understand how this shit really works.
Right.
And so it's tough in the beginning because like no one wants to be that guy.
Yeah.
But like having those uncomfortable conversations are so necessary. Otherwise, if you're everybody's friend, you're no friend of yourself. Like, and you like that shit was so, like the first year and a half, it was so hard to understand, like getting cross, like people going to do something, like what the f-? Like I would never do that.
Right. No doubt. And you're creating a marketplace for your
100%.
peers. That's one thing in the clubhouse with older players that's so beneficial, is because when you're that young talent that comes up to the big leagues and it's like, all right, if I got Peter Moreland that's been around this game for 15 years, hey Pete, like when we're hanging out in the room at night, yo, they just offered me like an 8-year extension, bro, for like 20-something million dollars. And he's gonna be like, hey, buddy, you're worth like, let me break this down to you.
100%.
So that's what I love is like when baseball, there's people in the clubhouses, there's people in the industry that kind of like make sure they school you on that game. You know what I mean? So
100%.
I would imagine on the internet, there's a group of influencers now, especially in the baseball network. Is that what you call yourself, an influencer? Because I don't want to disrespect you by saying
I would say
influencer.
like
Creator.
Yeah, like a creator, because there's also the whole business side to it, and I understand that I have influence, but a lot of people have influence, and I think, like for me, it's selfless. So if I attach myself as an influencer, then to me that's kind of self-soothing. Like I'd rather just be known as someone who creates things for people to enjoy. But the crazy part about what you said with the contracts is like someone will put something in front of you, and you'll be like, oh, that's awesome. But meanwhile, if you got a dude who's been there and understands how shit works, you could say it a million times, and I've learned the hard way, sometimes it's not even worth touching the stove because somebody's already touched it, and just let them fucking tell you that it's hot. And I think now, like I feel like I've grown 30 years in the last 3 because of all this shit. Like it's so fucking fast, and no one prepares you for it. But I think I'm so lucky in the regard that I have like so many good people around me, and I'm grateful for the people around me, but I don't like stargaze over the people around me. Like if you got something, if you have value to bring to the table, like I'm asking you like, how do you go about this? And then like I think that's part of how it's been for me is like, just being.
So for people who are watching this, and obviously they're going to know exactly who you are. We especially in baseball, we just know who you are. We've seen our favorite videos. For people who are thinking, oh, he just makes videos, and they hear you talking about business. There might be someone watching this and thinking, wait, business? Well, talk about that a little bit. What is the business aspect of what you do?
Yeah, I think it's funny. Like people like on the street will ask me, like my aunt, and I think this is great. Like she's like sending me, Orange Theory is hiring. Like you would be a great guy for Orange Theory. Like still. And I'm like, oh, perfect. Nobody has a f***ing clue what's going on.
We're right where we need to be.
Yeah, so, I mean, the best way for me to describe it and break it down would just be kind of like any business operates the same. You need to have your finances, your legal. If you have employees, you got payroll taxes, you got a W-2. Like, there's all these things that nobody tells you.
Sure.
And on top of that, you got to wear the marketing hat. You got to close sales. You got to sell yourself. You got to create packages, proposals. Like it's a business. If you want to do this real, you got to open up how to start a business for dummies and look into that sort of shit. And I bought the book. I read it. Like, no, I'm dead serious.
I know yellow cover. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And so the business side of it is, I'm in the office at 9 a.m., 9 to around 6. It's 3 buckets. It's Nicky Cass Media, and that handles all of the advertising, all the brand deals, and how creators make money in my mind is license, endorse, own. So yeah, we have a couple of licensing deals, but we try to take the endorsement side of the business and funnel that into the ownership opportunities, because the endorsement creates some pretty good cash flow pretty quick. So if we could take that and funnel it into the ownership opportunities, like I got an app in the App Store called The Extended Family, which is like a subscription-based platform. We post exclusive episodes of like skits on there.
Oh yeah, watch everything early.
And early access. We funnel all the cash flow from the endorsement deals to pay people's salaries. To like everyone thinks, oh, you're making X amount on a brand deal, bro. You're living like, dude. I live at the end of the year, maybe, but like I'm putting money. Like Uncle Sam ain't cheap. It's a partnership. No one tells you that either. Like if you want to start a business, you own 61% of it. There are other 49 or 39. I'm not a math guy. I need to hire someone for that. The other 39.
Big numbers.
Wrong.
But yeah, and on top of that, like I'm building a service business as well, because I'm trying to think like, how can I, if I don't want to be on camera, how can I still make a good living doing that? And so there's value in the information that I've learned through like growing on social media and creating content and being creative. I have a marketing degree. And so leveraging that and leveraging my personal brand to bring on clients to create a service business that like, hey, this is a teachable thing. I could teach 10 people how to do this, and now let's go sell this service to people, and let's build a clientele is something that I work on too. So it's like, it's constantly evolving, and you have to, it's funny, like everybody glorifies business, and like business fucking sucks sometimes.
Doesn't it make you grow up quicker though? And like you said, You learned the hard way
I
through
wouldn't
some
even recognize
things.
myself 3 years ago.
Oh,
like,
dude.
Me talking about what the like 3 years ago, I was like, you got to make sure on the concentric movement, you're coming down three seconds.
Going a
It's
little
crazy.
sad. And now you said you got the endorsements flooding and this, but like having hard conversations, having business-like conversations where, say it's a baseball where you're having arbitration and they're hitting you with cold, hard truth of what you don't do well and why this, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't that make you grow up? And doesn't that make conversations with family, friends, tough conversations, like that makes it a little easier for you, right?
And that's, you bring up a really good point. Both of you are saying something that when they look at an elite athlete, when you look at the Jeters, you look at the Jordans, you look at professional athletes, a lot of times fans will show up, they have their popcorn, and they're like, wow, look at the show. Look at how great these guys and these women are. But they don't even take into consideration all of the hours, all of the behind the scenes, the plyo balls, the stretching, the mobility, all of the people involved to put this product on, and same with you. And I think that's so fascinating. To your point, there's all of this, people will say, oh wow, look at all the success and all these great things, which is true, the positive impact you're making. What has been, like Haas was just saying, what are the difficult aspects of it that people probably don't even, maybe you didn't even anticipate your experience?
I think the emotions, being emotionless in business is huge because if you have emotions and decisions, you're probably not gonna make the best decision. I think that was tough for me to learn early on. The other difficult part is like, while it's great that nobody, like I'm a low-key guy, like people don't need to know what I'm doing, how much I'm doing, all of those sorts of things, but like there's a disadvantage to that because now if I go into a room with a bunch of suits, it's like, oh, I'm the TikTok kid. And like that kind of sucks is like, I haven't entered that threshold yet where like, I don't need to prove myself 2-3 times to make you or help you understand that like I'm not just a clown.
But that's not, I don't think that's not necessarily a Nicky Cass thing. That's just an industry thing because it's so new.
Yeah.
And people, that's throughout history, there's always been something new that's come along where people are like, nah, the
100%.
internet will never take off.
That's so true.
And what I feel from the outside looking in, watching your pages grow, watching different pages come about, the Entrepreneur Nicky, all that type of stuff. So from my point of view, it's like, all right, I made these funny ass videos. I got a shit ton of people that love my stuff and that are following me, that are now my fans.
Yeah.
But now you're like, I want to take them on this journey with me. I want to continue to bring them a good laugh, whatever that is. But I learned some stuff the hard way through business. I want to spread some knowledge on that. So now you've got the fans, and now you're just going step by step, which is, for me, I've been a late follower. I probably just started following you this past year.
Hey man, no harm done.
Hey, but I'm fucking all in.
Dude,
I'm all in.
No, I love it.
But it's you're now spreading so much knowledge in different ways.
I appreciate that.
It's pretty cool to see.
Thanks so much.
This is a tough comp. I don't want to put pressure on the comp, but it reminds me of like Jay-Z. Remember Jay-Z? He got into hip hop. That's a tough comp. But he got into hip hop, and he's famous for that phrase. Like, who says I'm a businessman. He
100%.
realized he started making raps, started to be a writer. I read his biography, and then all of a sudden he just ran the whole thing. Got to the point to where he's running the business, but maybe early on in his career, when he was on the streets just rapping, no one imagined. They just saw him as a hip hop, but they had no idea he was going to turn into the businessman he is.
Well, that is. I'm gonna tell everybody that you said that internally.
When did you know that was like? When did you go from I am gonna be this TikTok kid, as you just called yourself, to I'm gonna be a business?
To look at my watch.
I had a few tough conversations with people I worked with, and some things didn't work out the way I thought they were, and I was like starting to see things that like, it's either you do this for fun, or like, you get a little chip on your shoulder and like figure it the fuck out, dude, because otherwise you're gonna keep getting the short end of the stick. And I think around 20, when I graduated college, so I was doing this in college. I was like taking 18 credits. I was doing it was bananas. And then when I graduated, a few months after that, I was still like trying to figure it out. Like I graduated college, I was making good money, and then I hit a point where I was like, dude, like if you don't man up, like sorry, like that's a statement on it, but it's true. I look in the mirror and kind of just be like, it's either you pack your shit and go home, or you fucking do the things that you've been avoiding in here and have these conversations that you've been avoiding in here. And I think a lot of that came from focusing on the mental performance side. I was telling you, Brian Miles is a great friend of mine. I was, beginning of 2024, I was in a rough spot because it was just, there was so much that happened at one time. So like college, business, people recognized me on the street was so weird. My godmother passed away from lung cancer, COVID. It was like all this shit that I was kind of just stacking on me. And then the stuff that I was avoiding in business and in my personal life, I think once I was able to look in the mirror and be like, it's time to make some changes, is when I went from here to here in every facet of my life. And I think you ask what the biggest challenges are. I think for me, it's like, if you want to operate your own business and if you want to do something extraordinary, it doesn't fucking matter anytime what you feel. You got to do what you got to do, because it's not just about me. I got Lucas here who's filming the vlogs. I got Perry who's helped me out on social. I got people that are looking for me to make the decisions and support them. So like, it's way bigger than me, beyond the lab. It's you need to have those conversations, and you need to do the work, and you need to understand how you operate, because if you could understand that, you could understand where people are coming from, have a little bit more compassion. So I think it started after college, but man, even the last like 7 months when I started like seeing people and talking about like how to improve my mental performance and just like how I operate each day has just been monumental for me.
I'm sure the videos help release some of that too.
Oh,
like
100%.
This for me, I went through a situation too during my career where I felt like I was loyal and I didn't receive that same loyalty back in tough business. Like, didn't get burned in it by any type of way, but
yeah.
Just felt that, you know what I mean? And now to be able to do this and release certain things,
it's
and
definitely
talk about
therapeutic.
It. Oh, and to be able to like now communicate and reach, like talk to fans in different markets,
So
different
cool.
fan bases. It's badass, right? Like,
So cool.
Oh, it's a release. What is that, your weekly routine? So like you shoot on Mondays, I believe you said.
Yeah, film on Mondays.
How many videos you going? Like when do you write out what the skits, all that stuff?
So I got a shared notes folder. I'll just like, shit will happen. And like, that's the other thing too, and Brian Miles taught me this. Like, if you're just checking items off your list, like you're not actually in it. Like you're not present. So like, I need to create an environment for me to allow me to be present, because when I'm present, I'm creative. When I'm creative, I'm on fire. So if I can get myself to be creative, I need to put myself in that headspace. So building a routine is so huge. So I'll wake up probably between the hours of 6 and 7. I'll hydrate. I used to be a big journal guy. I float up and down with it. If I'm listening to an audiobook, I'll listen to an audiobook. I won't really check my phone. I'll work out. And all that shit is just calming me down for the stuff that's gonna come up during the day. Because if I'm calm for the day, I could observe situations. So if I go to the pizza place, I could see the guy doing this and telling the customer like it's cash only, and then I could see like that's a thing. Let me go create that. So we record on every Monday between 5 and 15 videos, and then it'll go into, Lucas will take it, chop it up, put it in a OneDrive folder, coordinate. His point of contact is Perry. Tell Perry when it's done. Perry will schedule it and post it. So I'm eliminating myself from the decision making that I don't need to be making, that I could trust somebody else to make. And so now all I'm focused on is being creative.
Just locking in on whatever you need to lock in on, the main thing.
It's delegation is the best thing I've ever learned, ever.
That is. Was it hard for you to delegate at first?
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
I was creating the idea, making the video, editing it, posting it, coordinating the like if we were doing like ads that month, I was writing out the ad schedule. I was doing literally everything. And then I'm so blessed, and I'm not just saying that because he's here. He's the best dude. He is unbelievable. Perry is I got great people around me. So it was much easier to be like, go do this, because I trust him. Yeah. But it's also my duty to teach him and like show him. And you know, as a leader, if something gets fucked up, it's not his fault, it's not Perry's fault, it's fucking mine. I didn't tell you how to do it properly. So I think, and we fuck up a lot. But I'm always learning. Yeah, it was so hard to delegate, because that's your baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't, like, it's funny, when I met Lucas, I made him edit this video, 5-minute clip. I said, chop it down to 59 seconds and tell a story. What he didn't know is I went and I did this exact same thing. I was gonna compare the two. And they were fucking identical. I was like, all right, man, you're in.
Where'd you get that idea from? Did you just come up with that idea? Or
I came up with that one.
Did you really?
I mean, someone else probably did it, yeah.
Right.
But, yeah.
That's leading, dude. You got a hell of a team over there,
A
too.
hell of a team. I got the best team.
So okay, I'm going to dig myself a little bit. 14 and 15, we went on that 2-year run of going to the World Series and all
Dude,
that
I
shit.
remember. It was unreal.
Unreal. And during the time, I'm like, you're just blacked out. You're going from
Blacked
series
out.
to series. I have no idea what's going on. Now, looking back and thinking on it, like, holy shit, we went to the World Series 2 years in a row. Is what you and your team doing right now, are you guys just so locked in on the moment to where you're not even realizing you go from Soto and Judge to the next week, you're fucking teaching Pedro how to get through the ball in
You know
Texas?
what's crazy though? Like, and I used to think there was something wrong with me, and there probably is, but like, I don't know, like I would always like not feel anything when shit like that would happen. And I'd like question myself, like, do I care about what I'm doing? And I just love, and like, I'm that guy. Like in high school, I was the guy that just took 1,000 swings a day.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the same with my work. Like, cool things will happen, and it's for everybody to see, and like, it's cool to think about it, and it's like, whoa, but I don't really feel much. I feel it all in the process. Like, I feel it all in like, oh, I can't wait till like tomorrow. I'm gonna be sitting at my desk, Perry's gonna be here, Lucas is gonna be there, and like, we're gonna talk about it. Like, that to me is the best. And I think that's a good thing because I'm so detached from the result. So like, if I go see Juan Soto and Aaron Judge and I fuck up a line and they're like, oh, this sucks, we're not posting this. Yeah, like for a second it's like, damn, but like, I'm like, all right, I'm looking forward to how I can improve for the next time. And that's such a corny answer, but it's the truth. Like, it's like,
No, the process.
yeah,
That's
like
the
it
funnest
really
part.
is. And I think what I'm looking forward to most, and this is deep, but like telling my kids and like showing my kids one day. I think that's where I'll be like, all right, now I could live it, you know?
That's really cool.
Oh, yeah, that'll hit you way deeper when you have
Yeah, I have
kids,
no
too.
idea. I have no idea, but I could imagine, like, you know,
Yeah.
because my dad all the time, it was the happiest day of my life. Watching you and your sister come out. It's the best day of my life.
Buddy, when you take that snap and you go into that, when you go under center, it's the best day ever. And you always say, Sue always asks, you know, what's your why? What is your why? And for me, over the years now, my son's almost 2. I got a little girl coming in October.
Yeah.
That answer has changed so much for me
Yeah.
because they are my why. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so happy and disappointed at the same time that my son, he didn't grow up with me in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm disappointed with that, but at the same time, I'm happy because I got to be at home and I've seen every step of the way. I went on
awesome.
one 9-day road trip and the dude went from shitting liquid to all of a sudden like real actual fucking shit.
Real
And I'm like, oh my God.
Real
I missed this. But obviously what I'm saying is like, I wanted my son to grow up in the clubhouse and be like a Charlie Freeman or Kyrie Profar in the clubhouse eating lunch. But I'm happy I didn't get to miss out on that
100%.
stuff. So your why will change so much more. You say that now.
Yeah.
When you get under that snap, buddy, I'm telling you, it's
I'm
gonna
sure.
just,
No,
ooh, man,
I'm
it's-
sure, 100%.
But I love what you were saying earlier about with the storm of everything going on in early 2022 or 2024 rather, you established a routine to help you bring you to the present and to kind of create your environment to set you up for the ideal state so that you can produce what you need to
100%.
produce. You guys, as former Major League Baseball players, very routine, professional athletes, golfers, and football players, how have you established routines post-career? Have you done it? I mean, here we have Nicky Cass telling us how it's helped him. Have you been able to apply it to your life afterwards? Has it been more difficult?
I got lucky because I got to stay in the baseball routine working in baseball. So my routine didn't change. I leave slightly later than I used to, and I do way less work, and I still go to the baseball field every day. So I get to still stay in that routine. And everybody here will attest that when I'm not in that routine, I'm an absolute shit show. I change flights for the wrong airport. I do all kinds of stuff. So
It's that ADD, my man.
it's crazy.
buddy.
If I don't have structure or if I don't have, and I feel myself get out of whack if it's 2 or 3 weeks without that structure. Even when I go home, I'm coaching. So I'm still that routine. I know where I'm on a Wednesday. I know when I'm on Thursday. I know when I need it.
Yeah, for me, having something to look forward to helps. So, like we just came from Texas. Then it was like, this is a quick turnaround. This was a couple days, but it's usually a week or two. Then I'm like, all right, we're done with Texas. We went 2-3 days, gave it everything I had out there. Now, for 2 weeks, I'm fortunate enough to where I'm just gonna be a dad, dude. I'm gonna be the best fucking dad out there.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna be with this dude in the morning. I'm gonna put him down for his nap and wake up when he's there. And then in 2 weeks, when we go to our next road trip, we're locked in for 2 days. And I learned that through influence. So you guys, you know, Moose, Dyson, these guys I played with, that when they're done, I'm like, bro, what do I do right now?
Yeah.
I don't golf. That's 5 hours out of your day, which I need to start learning how to golf. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You've had to have had some kind of influence because, bro, when you're 22, 23, 24 years old getting big checks, you want to go and spend it, dude. And the way you're talking about investing in yourself and your business, that's not normal, bro. You have to have someone you're looking up to
100%.
that got you in that mindset.
Yeah, man. Few people. My pops is number one. If I didn't have him, I can't be here. He's been just the absolute, like, North Star in every decision and everything, like, to the point where it doesn't even seem like he's like, and I'm not just saying, like, he's a fucking superhero. Like, everything he said that I didn't want to listen to is right. Everything he said I should do, but like sucked at the time, like whether it's financial stuff, decisions in business, decisions in life, like like the dude's lived, like I haven't. And I think he's number one, and just not through, like, in order to believe him and anyone, I think you gotta see it. Like you gotta see action.
sure.
Like there's like the worst thing in the world is a dude who fucking talks and then like you turn around and he's doing the exact opposite of the shit that he just said. And like, you know, I watched that guy from the moment I could remember being alive. Go to work, come home, big hug, tell me to go fucking, dude, the Stanley Cup came to my house, okay, last year.
Lordo?
What?
Lord Stanley,
Yeah,
baby.
Lord
Yeah.
Stanley came to my house. We did a video for the NHL. The Stanley Cup leaves. It's the NHL playoffs, okay? The guys on TV are fighting to touch this thing. I'm playing with it in my backyard. They leave, and he goes, and I'm like, man, that was something. He's like, yeah, there's 3 bags of topsoil. Do me a favor, go take them, open them up. And like, in the back of my mind, like, I got right to it. But like, you don't think about that shit, but that's the kind of shit that keeps you humble, is like, he's seeing the whole picture. I'm sometimes seeing it from here. He always says, Nick, you look at everything right here. You got to look at shit from out here. And so, you know, just watching him growing up, and we've been through some pretty rough times, and you could never tell the difference between a great time and a rough time with him. And I'm just so blessed to have him in my corner. And then too, it's like the pros. It's like Logan. I've gotten to know Christian McCaffrey pretty well. He's just at his wedding. Really good friend of mine. Like, that's a dude that was gifted the greatest athletic ability I've ever seen. And the dude will get a 2-hour massage on his hamstring. And I'm like, why are you doing that? He's like, well, it takes what it takes.
I've seen some of the work he puts in behind the
It's
scenes.
unbelievable.
From the sauna stuff
Dude,
to, yeah.
This guy's doing stretches like an amphibian. Like, no, like I was like doing this, like we were about to like go lift. I'm like, fucking, and he's like, moving, like he's on the ground, moving his fucking arms like this. And I'm like, dude, you're a different breed. But
He's a
like,
savage, dude.
what an opportunity for me to witness somebody who's at the top tier of their craft work on their craft. Like, it's a sin if I walk away and not learn anything, and then apply it to my own life. In the business world, Mario Carbone, Major Food Group, that dude is unbelievable. To have him as a mentor, to like talk to him about, yeah, I'm looking to open up a pizzeria, like get in the restaurant business, and him like fully like, dude, that's an opportunity. I'd be an idiot to be like, I'm not gonna listen to this guy. So I think it's those people, but it's also understanding the opportunity that is to even get one sentence of advice from them. I'm gonna fucking take that and run with it.
I want to go back to something you said just a minute ago, where you just had the Stanley Cup in your house, and then
Yeah.
Dad was like, "Hey, go do this,
Yeah.
cut the bags open." Have you had a chance to sit back and just enjoy what you've been able to accomplish to this point in your life, or is it just full steam ahead?
I don't know. This is gonna sound fucking crazy too. I don't care. Like, I don't know. Like if it all goes south tomorrow, I'll be a personal trainer in CrossFit.
Right.
And I think that's my greatest strength, because it's like, I don't attach myself at all to it. It's really fucking cool for the people around me. And like, I love to share in that experience with them. But for me, I don't know, it don't hit. And I've tried, like, trust me, I've like sat and I've like enjoyed a cigar and I'd be like, think about that, dude, that's fucking awesome. And
But
I'm like,
even just what you've created as far as the business and the people around you, you've got the success that you're enjoying
100%.
right now. I don't mean the people and the materialistic stuff. I
no,
mean,
not that.
you can wake up every day and look around you, go to work and go, fuck man, like this,
Yeah.
I did this.
Yeah.
Or is it, we are not worried about right now,
No.
let's just go.
No, it's the first one. Like,
Okay.
but it's very internal. Like I'll just keep notes to myself. Like my godmother before she passed always used to say, everything that makes you feel euphoric in life, everything that makes you feel happy in life, every situation, write it down. And like feel what that is. And so I'll write shit down and then I'll like go back to myself and then and it's like weird moments. It's like, oh, when I like walked in and like I saw like him on the computer like typing away, like that's the kind of shit. And I think if I stay deep rooted in that, we're just gonna continue to be consistent.
Awesome.
Yeah, like that's for me. I used to do this meditation. Remember when we were at dinner and I told you about it? I'm not a drug guy. Like I've never done any drug in my entire life. And I was telling Pete,
Me either.
I was telling Pete about this because you were talking about like weed or whatever.
Right, something.
And I was like, man, I don't know what that's like. But I do this 15-minute meditation where I like put myself in like the positions of like my most memorable moments. And I swear it feels like taking a magic mushroom. Like, everything is just great. Like, I don't know.
You can take yourself there for sure.
And Pete's just like, shut the fuck up.
I look over, he's sitting at the dinner table, I'm like, jeez, dude.
Sue, let me ask you this from a business standpoint, because
Yeah.
in baseball, so like you can break down success however you want to. You can do it night by night, series by series, month to month. You're playing one season and that's, you know whether or not you had success, you can celebrate that, or it's time to get back to work, whatever your choice is. How important is it for people in business to like, do you believe in they should step back, maybe recognize something or keep it moving, or like, what's your take on that? Or is just whatever is you?
Having worked with not only athletes, coaches, executives, I think a lot of and here you went and got a performance coach.
Yeah.
Like that just goes to show how performance is performance, whatever our jobs are. If you want to optimize, you're looking for certain strategies, and some of them are universal. So we have something called the negativity bias, where we're all naturally negative. The
amygdala.
Exactly. The leopard brain, the amygdala, the amygdala hijack. We're thinking worst case scenario. We're overly self-conscious on ourselves. We're just kind of thinking of the negative. The negative things in our lives, they're sticky, and so we remember. They stick to our brains. They stick to our memories a lot more than the positives. So one way to combat that, to be able to neutralize negativity, is you create, Brian and I learned, hunt the good stuff.
Yeah.
Being able to just pause to say, what is the good that is happening in my life? And what I love about writing it down, the weakest pen is stronger than the strongest memory. A lot of times we'll have good moments and you'll think to yourself, oh man, I'm gonna remember that. And you don't remember it because you just get crushed by all the negativity.
Yep.
And so what I love what you do is you're capturing, making a list of all of these great moments so that you can go back. That's why I like players to have a performance journal, not for now, because a lot of guys, I'm not gonna do that. I'm like, no, it's for your future self. When you're scuffling in August, you're gonna be able to go back in June and say, okay, these are the things that I collected some wins along the way, and to kind of reverse engineer those things. That's a great question.
And that's not even something that you need to have had done for the last 10 years. You can start that right now and go look around. What is it that you are happy about? Because I get stuck in the negative too much. I can admit it 100%. Doesn't matter how good. Look at me. I mean, it doesn't matter how good I've got it. I'm always like, shit. I don't mean look at me. I mean look where I am.
No, we get it.
Kind of. I mean, look at me. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like it's tough to always be looking around and go, I got 3 amazing kids. I got a wife that I'm actually in love with. It's a concept that's it's incredible. It's like this is good, but I get stuck in where am I going? What's happening next year? Like what?
Yeah.
Like it's always focused on the tough.
The other thing too that the list does for me is it'll make you realize what you actually value. So there have been so many times where I'm gonna start getting a little mental performance-y on you, Sua, but like the brain has 4 modes of attention. It's like very broad, and I forget the word. Oh man.
So there's broad. There's 4
quadrants.
There's four quadrants.
Yeah. So like if I'm
broad and internal.
Yeah. Oh, so if I'm broad external, right? That means like everything's like. So like, if I get that way, what I'll do is I'll write down my priorities in life, like shit, like what's important to me. I'll write down 8 or 10 of them, and then I realize what I'm broad and external about is number 8 on the fucking list, and then I could go back to my list of shit that makes me happy, or moments that I can remember to make me happy, and realize that those are 1, 2, and 3. And so like keeping tabs on, because everything like business, life, being a high performer, it is such a fast-paced day to day, and you need to have things that kind of bring you down, whether that's the gym, whether that's writing things, whatever the case may be. So like when I write down shit that I remember that makes me happy, it's a good reset of like, here's actually what's important. Meanwhile, I'm fucking like this over the most least important thing. And then you can create, we can get deep in it. Then you can create cues to get you back to like narrow and internal. So like I'll snap in my ear to get me from broad external and then narrow internal, and I could lock in on a thing. But that like takes kind of you like training your brain, and like being conscious of that sort of like understanding how the brain works and how situations in life can cause different reactions to like your mental, and then being conscious of it has been like so fucking huge.
You're 24, 23?
23.
I'm old, and I'm still to this day struggling with what you're dealing with and what you're able to even try to learn.
It's so hard, man. I'm sitting here acting like it's all like, nah, man, it's fucking like.
I get it. Like,
it ain't easy,
right? For sure.
I could snap all day long. I may still be
Right.
like.
Can you feel? Is it like a mood thing that you feel, or is it just you recognize you've said something, you snap back at somebody?
Well, thoughts create emotions. Emotions create feelings. Feelings create actions. Right.
Performance interaction. Yep.
So if I am feeling a certain way, I need to change my thoughts.
Right.
It's verbatim, like there's no way around it. So I must have thought something subconsciously that made me feel this way. So let me just change my fucking thoughts.
Right. How do you do that when it's somebody outside of your, say it's something that you unexpectedly had to deal with, say it's a phone call that you were locked in on your day, it's 6 o'clock, and you get a phone call and it's news that completely changes your mood, and then you go back and you've got to go do live television, so to speak, asking for a friend.
What I would do in that situation, like you need to have tools in your toolbox that could take your state from a 10 to a 5. So for me, it's breathing through your belly. The natural way to breathe is through your belly. So I put my hand on my belly, and I feel my belly go up and I feel my belly go down. There's that. There's also like quick meditations that you could do. Like you have to put in the work before, so when that does happen, you're ready to go.
Right.
But like that's fucking work. Like that's like,
oh yeah,
sitting in your room by yourself with your eyes closed.
I need to feel it. So when I got called up, you were a little before me, but a big thing was weightlifting, right? Like guys were weightlifting, they would take it in the off season. So my last couple years, big thing was mental performance, and guys were talking to, process development coaches. So that's how I met Sua. And I started talking to Sua, and we get like 2 months into it, and our conversations are going back and forth, and I'm like, buddy, this is a lifestyle, man.
Yeah, it's
like,
a lifestyle,
everything
100%.
you're saying is a lifestyle. It's not like I'm gonna just go in and mentally work out for an hour just like you're doing fitness or something like that. Like this is something you have to live and die like every single day. This is a lifestyle.
100%.
So you're right, man. It's something that you're doing every single day to prepare yourself for when those times happen. Because we always say like, there's no running away from, the bad times. There's no running away from adversity. Like you just got to be equipped for when it comes at you.
Like you got to say yes to everything. And I think, again, like just as you figure out how to hit a breaking ball on the outside corner and put it over the second baseman's head is like the same way anyone could work on their mental game. And it's like when I first started meditating, and I don't do it as much as I used to, but I feel like I meditate throughout the day with like certain things that I do. But you close your eyes and like try to not think about anything, and like you fall off the wagon for fucking 5 minutes straight. But like that's a rep, like that. And I didn't understand that. Like when I started talking to Brian, I was like, dude, you know, like, I'm trying this meditation shit. It ain't working. And he's like, no, like, that's like, when you first got into the gym, you couldn't rep 225. Maybe you could, but I couldn't even get 95 pounds on the bar. So yeah, 100%. And then it is a lifestyle. It has to be, like, but it's like, if that's in your subconscious, you can't lose that. Like, but you got to constantly keep it in there.
I love you, like you were saying, your morning routine, how you don't even look at the phone until midday because you just need to be calm before the madness comes. I'm a firm believer, man, and I really wish the mental side, the process side, I would have took more serious at a younger age, because there's times where I've faced the same pitcher in the same season and I'm like, dude, this ball looks like a beach ball right now versus this where my mental, I don't know, maybe I was off. It was everything was so fast.
Yeah.
But it's amazing because I'm a firm believer, because you can definitely feel the moments where everything's just slow, coming to
100%.
you versus sped up.
Yeah, you should look into the Stoics, like Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius.
I read that Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
That's like modern day Stoicism.
Okay.
It's so good, because like what you said, it's the same situation, but your analysis of it is two different things. And like what I've started to learn, this is like Marcus Aurelius says, if you're eating a piece of fish, right? It's a dead fucking fish on a piece of clay. Like, taking the value that you put towards it could be game changer for high performers, especially in professional sports or business or whatever, because like, take your emotions out of it. Dude, it's been a wild 3 years, man.
Man, hearing you talk, just like the fundamentals of at the end of the day, when people say, what is mental performance? It's systems. At the end of the day, it's building systems around your time, your energy, and your attention. And so in order to create systems, you need to understand your current systems. What makes you mad? What makes you happy? What drains you? What distracts you? Just pausing and being like, okay, where do I need to build a system? And so you guys, as former players, we could have said there have been probably moments when you're in the bullpen getting ready to come out and your stuff is terrible. You're like, I have terrible stuff. There's something about the run from the bullpen to the mound where you're like, exactly. Yeah. So taking that, there's something you did either consciously or unconsciously, and you could design that and then re-engineer it. Same with hitters. A lot of times you in the World Series, all of us are so nervous for you, and you're not nervous at all in the box. You're just like, no, you're here right now. It doesn't matter how you feel, only what you do. Yeah. And you're just like focused on that.
When you talk about systems, right? Yeah. So this has just come to me. When I drive home after a game now, I do it without the radio on. I prefer to just sit there for 45 minutes.
It's the best.
And I'll either, if somebody's awake at home, I'll call somebody at home. That's my Australia call time. Or I will just sit there and I will think. And it's changed me as a person, having that 45 minutes a day to just focus on myself for a second, rather than, what do I got to do tomorrow already? I'll focus on that when I get home, lay in bed, look at the calendar. Okay, this, bang, let's go. But for that 45 minutes, I'm so locked into myself, and it's a game changer.
Yeah.
It's so, in the beginning though, like for me, there was so much going on that I couldn't process, between losing someone I love more than anything, and at the same time, like meeting people that I've looked up to at the same time, making more money than I ever thought possible. Like, there was so much that I couldn't process, that when I was, if you asked me 2 years ago to sit in the car and drive by myself for 45 minutes with no sound on, I'd freak the fuck out, have a panic attack, because I couldn't fathom processing all the shit that was going on. And
you would have had one of those little forearm grips.
Yeah, dude, the things I used to do to distract myself from what I was avoiding was insane. I would check my phone and then put it back. I would check it, like it became OCD. And I think if it's noisy in silence, the answer is more silence. And I never understood that. And so like, but then you think about it too, and I think about this shit all the time. Like, this is what I think about my silent car rides. Like, everything in life points forward. Your nose, your fucking toes, your eyeballs. Yeah. The only thing that points behind you is fucking your ass and shit comes out of there. Like, when it rains, there's sun. Like, all these things, like life, if you look at the universe, is always pointing forward. All the good points forward. But like, in order to get through to that, like, there's gotta be rain. There's gotta be fucking bad times. There's gotta be that discomfort. Like, all that shit is a part, like, you talk about like saying yes to everything. We talk about like, problems are just gonna keep coming. It's all fucking part of life. And like, my thought process is like, hey man, like, for example, this last week, got in a car accident. I'm good, and then I drove my mom's car to the gym the next day. I got a flat tire, so I wrecked 2 cars. Yeah. And on top of that, I had a short week because we came back from Texas and all this sort of shit was happening. And all I thought about was like, oh, this is fucking great. Like something good's gonna come out. Like I can't fucking wait. And that sounds really corny, but like you re-engineer your fucking thoughts. Cause I didn't know what depression was. I didn't know what anxiety was. I didn't know what none of that shit was until like right before COVID, my aunt got diagnosed. And it's crazy how much of a habit your brain works. So like if I'm starting to think negative, something good may happen and I may feel weird to be happy because my brain is so used to the fucking negative. I never understood that. But your brain is like not happy or negative. It's a survival mechanism. And that's what it's trying to do. It's like, oh, it's comfortable to be depressed. So let's just be depressed. It doesn't matter if shit's happy. Your brain's just trying to keep you like, so you don't change. It's fucking wild, dude. I mean, I've been putting in the work with them.
You've never done drugs before?
No.
Because we should. No. You just start, let us take them, and you just keep going.
That would actually be a sick podcast.
Let us ride, baby.
Just let us ride. And see what he comes up with.
Yeah. I mean, with this ceiling, it'd be phenomenal.
Oh, dude, let's all just lie on the floor and stare at this thing. We'll do that meditation.
Yeah, dude.
Have you always been this open to learn and this coachable and like a what the heck?
I hated school. I was the worst student known to man. I hated it, but I think so. I hit a point in my life where I realized that it's finite and that we're all gonna die, and that was the best and worst thing that ever happened to me. Because if I didn't think that way, my godmother would still be here, but. When I hit that point, I was like, every day I crack my eyes open as an opportunity. And with
was that when your grandmother passed?
My godmother passed in June 2021.
That's when you realized that?
Right, dude, a week after. I was like, oh, like, we're all gone. So I woke up every day, like every day is an opportunity. And I think that's in my subconscious. And so everyone I come in contact with and like, everyone I meet, it's kind of just like, my dad says all the time, you where's Saratelli and Gallucci? Because they were at the table, and he was like, you talk to people if you want to learn something, if you want to talk to them, I forgot it. But it's like, everyone I come in contact with is like, it's an opportunity to learn. And I think if I'm committed to something, I'm gonna open, like I know nothing. I'm a student of life. You could fucking teach me anything you want. But like I need something like it had, and I could tell people that, right? Like I've had conversations with my friends because like some of my friends just don't get it, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's people.
Yeah, and
because
people
you can say all
general.
this, and some people just like, I don't understand.
Yeah,
how you
and I'll say like every day you wake up as an opportunity. Like, well, like when is enough enough? Like you're always chasing something. You're not really in the present. Like. I said something has to happen to you that strikes you internally in your emotions that's going to change the course of how you view things. And for me, unfortunately and fortunately, it was watching my godmother be the light of my life in so many ways, and then watch cancer just deteriorate her and take her out. And like for me, that's where it started, to be honest with you.
I'm not going to say that you were lucky that happened to you. I'm just going to say that at your age, to be able to have that realization was very lucky.
100%.
Because you've now got whatever is left, and you've got a different mindset.
100%.
For me, it was my daughter with that punch in the gut, so
Dude,
that was
life
life-changing. So
I saw that clip on the toilet. I was like, damn.
oh, good.
Sit down for an 15, 20.
Now let me tell you, my quads were red. That was like this.
Feet were falling asleep. Let me ask you this one, man, because we've had you here for a while, but dude, I can keep picking. I feel like I'm picking your brain right now. One thing with me, that negativity that your mind just goes right to. I feel that a lot if that passion, that loyalty, if I feel that someone's not giving me that same passion or loyalty back, that's where my mind gets in that like negative, like it like pisses me off. So with some friends that you know, aren't communicating at the same level as you, or in business where you're not feeling that, how do you just keep it moving and stay positive through all that?
I mean this in a very loving way. That's your ego. It's my ego too. Like, I was always of the mindset of like everyone's got to think like me, and if not everyone's got to think like me, but like how come this person doesn't think the same way? And it's not an ego of like my way is the right way. It's just like everyone has an ego, and if you recognize that your job is not to change somebody, your job is to do like the best that you can with what you have and understand the person that you're, like Stephen Covey's wrote a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one of the habits is first seek to understand, then seek to be understood. And a lot of us walk around seeking to be understood before we seek to understand. I think if you could drop your ego, for me, it was huge, and like I got super humbled when I witnessed death. But I think that kind of eliminates, and it's so hard because you're like, how do you not, dude, I'm fucking telling you this. Not because I want to be the guy, because like I know, and like I see the potential in you, and like I want, but you could take the horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. And I think if you recognize that it's a, because it's not a conflict in their head. In their head, they think you're crazy. In your head, you're like, I don't get it. Why not? You got to drop that little ego that you got.
So that, again, I've never done it, but ayahuasca, that's what people say, is you lose your ego.
Really?
And that's why people come back way different from it. It's a whole deal.
Really?
But let me ask you this though, leading, and I just want to be clear, everyone at Moonball Media is phenomenal. Everyone behind here is great.
I mean,
all
top
that.
to bottom.
But leading a team, if someone's not putting the work ethic, putting what they need to put into it, you know, how do you, because you got to get them going, right?
Yeah.
If you're leading this team, so that's
100%. I think, and I'm not.
Do you feel that being a different scenario or a different situation?
I think I'm not Jeff Bezos, so I don't know what it's like to like I got it very small. I got about 6 people. And for me, my thing is like make them fall in love with the work. I'm not gonna tell them what I think it should be. Like Lucas is so talented, right? I'm not gonna tell him what to do. I want him to find his love for the project that we're on. And if he don't love it, all right.
Next one.
Yeah. Like then you kind of flirt with like it's still his job, but like I'm lucky in the regard that I can do my very best to make someone excited about the project. But at the end of the day, I need to rely on your talent to execute the project. And that's why I hired you, because you're like, if you needed to pitch, you know what I mean? Like
He probably could have.
you could.
I throw harder than 88 miles an hour. I tell you. Whoa. I just watched Savannah. I'm not talking about Atlanta or anything like that.
50 years old. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I
tickets.
think you got to make. I think it comes down to everyone tries to scale their business so fucking quick, and I think there's power in that financially and success-wise and results-wise. But I also think you lose a lot of the reason why. Like everybody wants, the founder always wants the 19th guy to be as passionate as he is about the job. Well, bro, you got to fucking make him excited. You got to give these people a reason to show up. And if you got to cut ties, you got to cut ties. But I think for me, what I've learned, and again, saying very humbly, I don't know it all, from my experience up until this point, having a team, it's always let people be good at what they're good at and facilitate them to love the project that they're on.
When you're acquiring a player in baseball, you are acquiring this guy because you trust what he can do for 162 games plus postseason. As a manager, as a staff member, as a front office, I'm going to create a culture and an environment that this dude is going to love to come to work at every single day. When the first baseman walks in the cage, he's going to fucking love the hitting coach. He's going to be fired up to do his process in there. Same when the pitchers go to the bullpen. Everything you're saying right now. Hey, at the end of the day, if we don't win, that's on me.
Right.
But trust that I'm going to do this up until that point, and we'll see what happens.
Look at the Dallas Mavericks. Mark Cuban bought the Mavericks at $250 million. What did he do? He put PlayStations in the locker room. He put the best chefs. He gave these people a reason to show up excited to be a part of the Dallas Mavericks organization. Now he wants to sell it. It's $2.5 billion. That wasn't because they got good players. It was because they created the environment that made people want to fucking win. And I think that, again, in my mind, you have to be tied to the process. And Mario Carbone said this to me one time, great always works. If it ain't great, it may not work. But if it's great, it's always gonna work. And I have that mindset with everything. And like, you gotta be a little sick in the head too. Like you have to, there's some times where I'm like probably way too passionate about, like he showed up 1 minute and 30 seconds late last week and we did 30 push-ups right when he got in.
Too.
Lucky to still have a job.
I did it. I did them too, but like,
it was your fault too.
100%.
Yeah, you didn't make them scared enough.
No, like that's what it is. I don't know.
Team, baby. The team. All right, let's close it out on a funny note. So I saw you did the coach skit with Arizona. Texas, spring training. Give us a little Coach Al motivation.
As
right
I
now.
seen you swing. Pete, I seen you pitch. The mental thing, we didn't have that growing up.
We had no brain powers.
We just pushed it down. Oh, you got problems? Talk to your wife, okay? Not over here. You cross the line, and it's game time. Do me a favor. When you get in your stance, make sure you separate. You see what I just did there, Oz? I'm 55 years old. I can still do it, okay? There's no excuse you can't do it.
I'm actually doing the. I don't know when this is. I don't know when this is coming out, but I'm throwing out the first pitch at the Yankee game as Coach Al in a week or so.
That's unbelievable that it's gone from.
It's ridiculous.
Right?
It's
You
ridiculous.
were part of the All-Star campaign.
It's ridiculous.
And now
That was
it's
nuts.
Nuts. Trust me, I've had my own fair share of All-Star campaigns.
That was.
We'll link that below. Don't worry about it.
that was insane, dude. I grabbed the blanket from the hotel, and it was so heavy. It wasn't my usual piece. It was like 35 pounds. It was falling out of my shorts. Like I'm in the middle of this arena, and I'm like unzipping my pants and shit. Like fucking Pedro Martinez is like, who is this guy?
You're a stud, bro. You're an absolute
stop,
star.
please.
The wisdom you just dropped on us,
I
being
know.
23 years old.
Oh, please.
Now we're coming into your game now. You've been showing us the way too, man.
No,
Like
I
you said, you
appreciate
got a
it.
couple different things going, and you've been helping us out.
I appreciate
so.
it. I got to say too, I grew up watching you play, and it's an honor to sit in this chair. Like I said, Perry's a good friend of mine, and he speaks the world of you. And Pete, I mean, I love you, man.
Love you, brother.